Ryan Greene here for Vic's channel again at Side 3 Studios. I'm actually at my desk this time, not over in the green room as we call it. I have my Throwback hoodie on because it's Throwback Thursday. And with the Falcons coming in here on Sunday with the #1 rated offense, I thought it would be cool to kind of go back to a game where the Broncos had to stop another high-powered offense. And that, of course, was when the Broncos took on the Houston Oilers in the divisional round of the 1991 season. It actually took place on January 4th, 1992. And if you want to know how much of a throwback that game actually is, I was 2 weeks away from turning 1 year old. So, yeah. Anyways, of course, coming into this game, the Broncos had to play Warren Moon. And a lot of people forget how efficient he was as a passer back in the day. He led the league this year in passing yards. He had 4,690. He also came in with Haywood Jeffries, his receiver, who led the league in receptions that year with 100. Back then, that was a lot. Nowadays, it's pretty common. The Broncos entered the game as 3.5-point favorites, but in the first quarter, the Oilers jumped out to a 14-0 lead. John Elway threw to Vance Johnson for a 10-yard touchdown to put the first Broncos points on the board for the day. The Oilers actually went into halftime up 21-13, but in the second half, the Broncos defense really stepped up. The Oilers only scored 3 more points for the rest of the game once the second half started. Warren Moon still had a pretty fantastic day. Only 9 incompletions. He threw for 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. But of course, it was the man quarterbacking the Broncos that really added to his legend this game. John Elway had a mediocre day. He had a passer rating of 80, 257 yards on 19 completions, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Now, many people think of the number 98 and think of the drive when the Broncos had to go 98 yards to win that playoff game. But that wasn't the only playoff game they had to go 98 yards to win. They also had to go 98 yards in this game. With about 2 minutes left, the Broncos were down 24-23, and on this punt, the Oilers downed it within the 2-yard line. See? But like I was saying, this was vintage John Elway. He had a couple 4th downs on this drive. This is 4th and 6 right here. He scrambles out and just gets past the first down marker to keep the drive alive. And then with just a minute to go in this game, this is 4th and 10. And you know what? John Elway's going to do it again. It looks as though he's going to take off and try for the first down marker again with his legs. But then he sees Vance Johnson wide open. The corner came down off Vance Johnson. Vance goes all the way down to, I believe, the 20-yard line. And that, of course, set up David Treadwell. And look who's holding for Treadwell. That's the current coach, Gary Kubiak. Remember, he was the backup quarterback back in those days. And then, well, most Broncos fans know that this kick is going to go in and the Broncos would win the game. Unfortunately, this was not a Super Bowl year for the Broncos. They then went to the championship round where they met the Buffalo Bills and lost a really tough defensive battle. The Bills won, I believe, 10-7 that year. And of course, it was the 90s, so the Bills went on to lose a Super Bowl. But yeah, so there you have it. Throwback Thursday. Thought I would bring up, again, one of the best playoff games in Denver Broncos history. One of the most vintage John Elway moments. It came down to the final drive, 2 minutes left. Got to go 98 yards to win the game. This time he only needed a field goal, but hey, he still did it. That was John Elway. So yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed the vintage Broncos old school home movies that I had. Be sure to watch the channel. We have some videos coming out before the game to give you a little preview. We were at Dove Valley all week getting interviews from the players. We'll hear from them how they kind of view the Falcons right now. Bad defense, great offense. We'll see how the Broncos players expect the whole game to play out. And of course, on Sunday, we will be live here for a post-game show. I believe Vic will be out at the stadium getting interviews, telling us what it was like in the locker room. Brandon Perna and I will be here in the studio breaking down everything, who's getting game balls, knuckles, and gazes of disappointment. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.